some young voices while we said the pledge. It's always nice when we have kiddos in the audience, so thank you and welcome to everyone. I'd like to start with the approval of the agenda, please.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda with the additional following items. Add item C1, building presentation by Georgia Matthews Elementary School. Secondly, additional certified and classified personnel actions for consideration, item number E3. And finally, add item number J2, an executive session for the purpose of discussing matters of non-elected personnel and their contractual obligations. Because if this matter were discussed in open session, it might invade the privacy of those discussed.
Motion by Laura, is there a second by Mark? Sorry, I saw a hand, sorry. All those or any discussion? All those in favor, signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Okay, do we have any public comments? No. Moving on to our building presentation. Armin, I'd like to introduce you, and you can introduce your staff and your students.
First of all, I'd like to have all of my students come up. We invited 10, and I think we have 9. Come on in. Want to just make a row right here? We're here tonight to make a presentation on a phonics program that we're piloting in our building. Yes?
We're missing somebody.
I know they're not here yet. It's okay. He was going to sit and take Darren's iPad when he walked in, so.
In due time.
We'll bring him up here, okay? Okay, so we can go in. Okay. What I'll do while I'm pulling this up is I will ask you guys to tell them your name and what grade you're in. Can you start? And look right at these people.
I'm in kindergarten.
What's your name?
Isaiah.
And you want to just sit down right there when you're done? Just you can sit down.
My name is Adrian Ortiz. I'm in 4th grade. My name is Ella Ortiz and I'm in kindergarten. My name is Emma Ortiz and I'm in 2nd grade.
My name is Joshua Ashley and I'm in 1st grade.
My name is Isaias and I'm in 1st grade. My name is Ruth and I'm in 2nd grade. My name is
Kevin, can you tell them your first and last name and what grade you're in? And I'll give you one in a minute.
What?
Oh, you have your iPad.
Yeah.
I'll get Kaylee's in a minute.
My name is Kevin Warner and I'm in 1st grade. My name is Kaylee Stubbs and I'm in 4th grade.
Okay, if you guys just want to sit there and you can work on your program until it's your turn.
Okay.
Mrs. Roderick came to us last spring and asked if we would be willing to pilot a phonics program. Of course, our building said yes, and she was going to compare our building data to another building data that didn't have the program. It was just going to be a K-2 program. We weren't sure what it was. Over the summer, she found the Lexia Core 5 program, which covers K-4. It's one of them. Because we're finding our older kids are the ones who are going to the phonics. So, and then we had enough, it's grant money. The program is funded by an old tobacco settlement a long time ago that they put that money towards education. So this program was funded with that. And also, there was enough that the owner was able to jump on board. So, as you see, they're very engaged, very in tune. I'm going to show you first the data I look at as an administrator. I'm going to have a teacher then show what she does. And then we're going to have our kids come stand by you and just step you through a couple of things that they do. This is the page that I look at most of all. If you see, it gives our indicators of how many kids we think will meet where they're supposed to be at the end of the year. If you look at my kindergarten, right now we have 41% of our kindergartners at risk. which looks pretty scary. But we have 26 or 25% on target, and then we have 34 that shows some risk. But if you look down here, at the beginning of the year, we had out of our kindergartners, 61% when they did their pre-test come at the pre-K level. We had 39% at kindergarten level. Every month it updates itself, and it just updated March 1. But if you look down below, look at the growth that we've shown. We have kindergartners, 20% of our kindergartners are working at first grade level. So we're really showing good growth. If you look down here, it breaks it up by the 2 classes. So then if we go back and we look at my first grade level, same thing. If you look, pretty scary, we have 57% at risk. But look where we started. Some of our first graders were at pre-K, 9%. We had 63% at kindergarten level. That's a lot of our kids that came in below grade level. So then if you look at our current level, we have some now working at second and third grade level. So they've really worked hard. We go back. Second grade level is the same thing. We have 33%. But if you look, we had 15% of our second graders come in at pre-K with their phonics skills. This program covers the 5 components of reading, just like our district follows, so it really works hand in hand with what our framework is set up with. But if you look now, we have second graders working at 13% are on third grade level, and 26% are on fourth grade level. So we're seeing really good growth. It's just we started so far. Our third grade, same thing. Oops, where'd it go? We had 3% at kindergarten, but we didn't have anybody at pre-K. We only had 8% of our third grade students on grade level with phonics and reading skills. If you look now, we have kids at 4th and 5th grade level. So we're really seeing some nice growth. And then my 4th grade, same thing, we didn't have anybody at pre-K. We had some at kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We only had 30% on grade level. We had, you got 4 new ones, Jenny, and 2 of them are straight from newcomers. So they have really come down on our kindergarten and 1st grade levels if you look at those 7%. So, do you have any questions of my part?
You mentioned newcomers. Could you explain what that is?
Newcomers are kids that have moved to the United States and they go up to Kay Thompson at Wisconsin. They have no background with any of our education. So she keeps them until she feels like they're ready to be successful in the classroom. When we got them, we got 2 4th graders and a kindergartner. Mrs. Ortiz has 2, and one of them is at a pre-K reading level, and one of them is at a primary real low level. But they're ready to be in our classroom. So I was sitting with them the other day doing a formative for our new assessments, and it's so hard, they can't read text. But they're becoming familiar with, as you will see, it's auditory so they can hear things, and they're visual, so it helps. So this program should really help them. But if you look at our 7%, that's where 2 kiddos are. And then we had 2 other kids that just moved that had never been on the program.
Well, I guess that kind of goes into my question then, because we talk about this a lot with last year's AYP scores and that type of thing. So your 7% might look kind of scary, but we're talking about 1 or 2 students. So it probably looks scarier percentage-wise than in actual numbers.
when we got them and I ran the report right after it changed the first of the month, it was like, what happened? And I'm automatically putting names to data and it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Relative.
So, Mrs. Mayer, she's one of my first grade teachers. She's going to show you what she looks at as a teacher.
Before you get started, this curriculum is aligned with college and career readiness. Dr. Dennis?
It is.
Yeah. And how long is this grant written for?
We have it for 2 years.
And just Georgia Matthews has this?
And Florence Wilson.
And Florence
No,
Wilson?
not Florence Wilson. Our kids have to meet 60% of their usage. They give us a guideline of how many minutes. We have never a month not met our needs. They can also use this from home.
Are the iPads part of the grant?
No, they're not. What I did was I called up to the technology department because I didn't want to bring up a bunch of laptops. So I got these, they gave them to me for today. And my kids are already going, when do I have an iPad? Why didn't I get one today? Today when we were talking about it right before we came, Adri, do you want to tell them what you told me today about the iPad and using it?
It's way easier than the computer because on the laptops there's a little box and when you get to the end you go
It looks like this size is just right for you.
Honestly, the kids were great. I had one little girl, Macy, that had never, well, you're my little girl too. But Macy had never been on an iPad, and I took it into her today, and I showed her once how to log in, and I gave it to her, and I said, okay, let's get out, and she got right in and got started. And Kellen and I are more worried tonight about using our iPads than they are. So,
I did have a question. I know you can track classroom data, but can you track it by individual students?
and she's going to show you that.
Thank you,
I am
Dr.
Kellen Mayer. I teach first grade. I don't know why this is not coming out. It's a button. Okay, so when the students get into Lexia, it takes them to their level, and there are 5 activities that they have to complete in order to pass their level. So there might be a sight word activity, a vowel team activity, a suffix activity, depends on the level. And when they, each activity, thank you, you're right, each activity has multiple units in it, so they might have to do the sight word activity, maybe 20 different activities to complete the sight words. And then when they've completed all 5, that's when their level is passed. And if they are struggling with an activity, the program will take away some of the cartoons and other fun things and do more of a direct lesson, more of explicit teaching. Okay, so, sorry. Here we go. Now when I log on each day to see, daily I look at 2 things. I look at if there's any students that need my help and if there's any students that have passed a level. So unfortunately I can't show you the whole page because there's student names on here, but on this side over here it shows any students who need lessons. So right now I have one girl who needs a lesson because she's struggling with something, and then Lexia provides you with the lesson. You would just click on it right here and it takes you to a lesson. This particular one is the vowel team EE, so that's something that she's struggling on Lexia. And then I pull her and do a one-on-one lesson with her, and it's all scripted out. Sometimes there are printable things, pictures, things like that that you have to print. This one you wouldn't even need to print. You could just do it off of here. So I would go through and do this lesson with her tomorrow because she's struggling with it. The other thing on the home page, it shows my classroom graph. So this is similar to the ones Mrs. Harmon was showing you, but this is just my classroom. And here it shows our usage. It's been going down because of conferences. We haven't had school, so they're not on it as much the last couple of weeks. And then down here, this is each of my students. Again, their names are over off to this side. It shows their performance predictor, which is the chance that they will complete the first grade levels by the end of first grade. So some of them already have, so they're at 100%. This student they're 85% sure that they will complete first grade levels by the end of first grade. It shows their usage, how many minutes a week they're on it. It shows the grade levels, the skills they've completed, and then all the way to the right it has the certificate. So if they complete a level, you can print a certificate to give them, which I do whenever they complete a level. And then the other things, there are lots and lots of reports for everything you can imagine. Here's one particular report. So this is just for one student. So this would be the student reports that you were asking about. This particular one shows, this top part shows the skills that he has completed and the dates that he completed them on. So he started in the kindergarten skills and he is now in the second grade skills. Down here it goes through each of those levels. He's in level 10, right here. And then it shows each of the levels and it will show me the 5 activities he's working on in level 10. It shows me his accuracy, how much time he has spent on each one, how quickly he's getting through them, how many times he's tried them, all sorts of things. And then the last one I was going to show you is the detailed report. So it takes each of these 5 things and breaks it down even further. So I can see every single time that he's worked on it, how long he's spent. Over there it shows me if it ever had to reteach him something, if he's really struggling with something, I can see that. Some of these where he's had to go to the instruction 3 times, all the way on the right over there, that tells me that's something that he was struggling with a little bit, and you can see how many times he worked on this one skill, how many different dates. So those are mostly what I look at. I go in and look at who has completed levels, who needs my help, and then I look at reports around conference time. That's it.
The nice part is she can tell that day what student needs what instruction. So she can pull them aside and give them that one-on-one instruction. And I've stepped in Mrs. Ortiz's room a couple times while she's gone to meetings. And it's really nice because, well, of course, she had it all laid out for me and I just went in and got it. But you have that one-on-one relationship with that student and their individual needs. So, do you have questions of Kellen before we move to that?
I have a teacher question. I don't know if she'll be able to answer or not, or maybe Ms. Ortiz might. But, you know, I hear teachers say, well, I've only taught so many prefixes or suffixes because that's all that's on the test and I'm not going any further when we were under No Child Left Behind. Under No Child Left Behind, would you have been able to do this, or is this something that you're able to do because you have a little bit more freedom under Common Core?
I think Common Core is pushing us harder. I think that would be a district decision that they would, and you guys would help us decide on. I feel like it gives the kids the opportunity to grow at their pace and go at a higher level. Some of these kids are doing things, I will sit and read it and say, okay, let me read it again, because I haven't.
And it is really nice sometimes when they've learned something already on Lexia, and then when I go to teach it, I would say on a weekly basis, I will hear them say, I've done this on Lexia. So they already know when I go to teach it, it's almost review for them, which is nice.
We see follow through over in our other lessons, writings, they'll be writing things, or in guided reading, we'll hear them say, oh, that's the AY rule, I know that, or the silent D. The piece that we're not having is we don't have that application to text yet. So we'll get there. But that's one piece really looking over. They're getting those isolated skills, and they can tell you what they need to do, but then to actually apply it in harder text, easy text they can do it. Controllable vocabulary text they can do it. But the harder, we're not. So.
Any other questions? Yeah, Mark?
Just a quick question on the grant. What do we turn over as a result of that grant? Turn over individual student grants?
What they're very interested in is our minutes that the kids are on the computer. So, no, we don't turn over that. Yes, to make sure it's used. If we're not using it, effectively, then we lose the grant. But we have built in, third grade only has 20 minutes, but all the rest of them, we have put in a 30-minute block during the day. The beginning of the year is really tough getting our little kids logged in with their login and learning how to use that mouse. And it took us a while, but our older kids were better.
And this is working at kindergarten as well?
Yes, I have a couple kindergartners here.
I did have a question. So they are using this program on a laptop?
Laptop and desktop.
But it's also possible to do it on an
Yes.
iPad?
We were, like I said, this was convenient for me. When we use it at school, we have to go through the internet with web-based. We downloaded the apps on this. I do have one student that the dad won't sign the computer sheet to having it online. If I had one of these in my building, we could use that program to like an app on. And I don't know how many percent don't sign that form, but
Well, it just seems to me that the kids have picked this up so quickly that maybe they're more encumbered by the laptops and the computers types of.
they've been using the program. My kinder and first, it was more September, October, but my second through fourth have been on this program since the beginning of school. So they're familiar with the program. We had to learn lots of things, just trial and error. It's click and learn. But like I said, I just gave them the iPad today.
Can we take a poll?
Yeah, you,
Hey kids, do you like the iPad better or the laptop better?
and I didn't tell them to say that.
Good job. I didn't ask her to ask that either.
I was on the trip
I
with
know, I
you.
know. You don't need to sell us.
Yeah. So you guys want to go, Adric, you will go up here, and you know where you're supposed to go. And then if you just go stand between some of the board members and show them.
Show us what you're doing.
And remember, tell them what you're doing. He will show you guys, and if you have any questions, don't go behind me.
What are you doing?
I am doing Lexia.
Guys?
You can show.
And
Kevin, guys,
I am doing single with shades of meanings.
Oh, okay.
And I'm on level 17.
You're what?
On level 17.
That's good.
That's the 5th grade level.
Good job. So what do you do here? I'm supposed to choose the words and place them in order. I don't really get this thing. That one's kind of hard, isn't it? Walk
And I think it's like that one right there. Oh, I get this. Yeah, I get this now.
Now, does it tell you if you miss it or if you get it right?
Yeah, it'll say, I'll make like I'll make the ding sound if I get it, and I'll make like a different sound if I can't, if I miss it. And right here, if you're getting a lot wrong, it says like a red apple, and then you raise your hand and ask the teacher.
That's neat.
Look at the words and place them in order based on their shades of meaning. Watch first.
So like, I think it means like for the other one I did, it's like you stand and then you walk
Now you try.
and you
Look at the words
run.
and place
Get
them.
faster as you go.
Choose the submit button when you have checked your work.
There it is again. Good job. Do you think it's helped you? A lot?
Students, why don't you, I'll give you about 1 more minute.
Good job.
No, it's not.
And if you don't get it, then you will just be free.
Good job.
Now, are the lessons pretty much the same, or
Once you keep going higher, it does the same stuff, but it's harder and different.
Okay, students, you want to tell them if there's anything you want to let them know about what you think of this program, let them know, and then come sit back down on the floor.
good job?
Good job.
What'd she say?
She said to come sit down on the floor when you're done. Are you done? You can keep going.
Thank you very much.
That's not quite right.
Like
Let's
that?
try this a different way.
And then it kicks you somewhere
And
else.
place them in order.
Helps you.
Choose the submit
Explains
button
it a
when you
little
have checked
bit.
your work.
That's neat. So now what do you think?
I did this one right here, so it can't be
That's not quite right.
Almost.
The words go in this order. These words are all related to
As you see, I think we have some
notice the shades of meaning.
Good job.
Good job.
After seeing the program, do you have any questions of myself, the teachers? We have several teachers, George Matthews teachers, you want to stand up? So they could answer, and parents, if George Matthews' parents please stand up. They were very happy to bring their kids. Thank you for helping.
Thanks for coming.
Questions for them, or?
Comment, the personalized enrichment instantly is key here, to keeping the kids' attention, to letting them work on the lessons they need to spend time on, not the lesson that their desk mate needs to work on. It adds remedial as well as enrichment, and I think it's awesome. I'm anxious to hear if BO's getting the same type results as you
We
are.
meet with them off and on, and yes, they are.
Good.
They're like us, they started way behind.
Yeah.
Kids perform low. Our older kids is what really needed it. And they seem to get stuck on certain concepts longer. But once they get through it.
From a medical perspective, a new drug comes on the market, and the FDA is trying to approve it, and if they find something that is significant and helps the quality of life of a large population of people, they'll fast track it through. And so it can get into the market so that more people can benefit from it. So this is just an example of something that I think looks like is a disservice if we don't use either this or something very similar to this quickly, because this seems like it's just, we've really hit a home run with this.
And there's like, I think, 200 schools in the state of Kansas using it. So we're not the only one. But we were lucky enough to have our 2 schools here.
To the data of all the schools we shared with you at the end of this program,
I don't know.
I think that would be interesting as well.
I know that next year our kids will come in, they'll do a pre-test, and they'll start again where they were. They won't automatically start where they left off, because that's where they were tested.
Any other comments or questions? All right, well, thanks, Carmen. Hey, kids, would you come through and say goodbye to us? And we've got a pin for you here, too. So come on up.
Sorry we took a little longer.
Oh, this was good fun. Good job. I'm sorry you can't keep that iPad. Here, grab one of these. You want a buffalo?
Guys,
Come this way, guys, we're gonna make a line. We're getting the
You're the cutest little thing. Thanks for coming. Thank you. You're gonna be a buffalo someday, right? again. Thank you. Yeah, you're close to being above. Thank you. Get a buffalo or a flag. Thanks, guys. Good job. We're gonna work real hard so we can try to get that iPad here, okay? Hey, thanks, buddy. There's flag and buffaloes. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I know. It's great. You're lucky to have a great school. Are you going to make a trade?
Thank you for coming.
I'm thinking about a trade. I'm sitting right next to her. She has a flag. Oh, flag's so popular. Thank you, parents. Appreciate you bringing your kids. Some apps need a web to be active, and some apps you don't. So it's interesting. I can see that this doesn't need a web-based system. The whole. Yes, it does. All right, is there any correspondence we need to discuss or present this evening? All right, with that being said, it's time to approve the consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
Motion by Laura, second by Alex. Any discussion? All those in favor, signal by raising your hand. Motion carries. All right, we are up to our curriculum report. Mr. Morales, are you going to introduce your team?
Yes, I think we're ready. Again, we always want to thank y'all for letting us present. Tracy Leicher, who's really put this whole thing together, flew today. So we're going to go through this. She's gotten everybody ready, I believe. My opening part really basically is telling you all about academies. They're doing very well at the high school. We need to always rethink why we went with academies. It's to break up a large high school, which we're doing a very good job of, to create a sense of community, smaller communities, to improve the academic achievement, to make our schools safer, to make it more humane, that's what we were talking about earlier, to also to have a positive educational environment, which I think it's done that also. We wanted to strengthen interpersonal relationships between students and staff. I think it's done that. To create a sense of ownership of students from teachers and in smaller learning communities. Basically, we're just trying to make our school more friendly. That's the bottom line with the academies. We also tried to increase our relevance and rigor with the academies. So students know why they're learning. They know why they're fitting to a certain academy. They understand what is expected with them, for them, out of those academies. We believe that it will lower our graduation, our dropout rate, increase our graduation rate. Attendance will be better. We'll have fewer incidents of violence. More students will participate in activities. I would say our freshman academy has really done that. Right now we're looking at how many freshmen we kept from last year into sophomores, and those numbers are up. I really think the test will be how many of these sophomores go to juniors. And I won't give you the exact numbers, but they are up, I can tell you that. So we're really waiting to see what happens there. And then we'll start, and I'm not sure who starts first here. All right, freshman academy. Here we go. And we brought students and I believe an instructor. And do you want to stand up and tell who you are?
All right, my name is Tyler Gates. I teach computer classes in the Freshman Academy. These are three of our best students. I'll let them introduce themselves. I'm just here for support, so I'm going to let them kind of take over, explain this to you guys.
All right, my name is Kendra. This is Esmeralda and this is Lolly. We are here representing Garden City on behalf of the student ambassadors. We are showing you like some highlights and events and activities we did, and that's what we're going to talk about.
First of all, we have the ESL assistants We welcomed them to the ambassadors. I think 2 of them joined the student council. And we showed them the usage of iPads and how to check the grades on Skyward. And we addressed any questions they had also on the iPads. We also did minute-to-win games for the fall homecoming carnival. And we raised money for the freshman ambassadors. Also, on the Brown and White Spirit Week, we encouraged everyone and teachers to wear brown and white and support our athletes. And we made posters to spread the word.
All right. The next is Red Ribbon Week. It was to show, promote drug awareness, and we did activities all that week. The next is the activities fair, which is like swimming, forensics, debate, just to get kids to look around, like freshmen, to see what we want to do, or yeah. Another one of the events we did was
There we go.
okay. Another event we did was trick or treat, so others can eat food drive. It's where we tried to get the freshman academy to get canned food for the mayor's house, and that went pretty well.
Pass and have a blast. As freshman ambassadors, we had an activity called Pass and Have a Blast. We did this in the freshman academy to encourage students to have passing grades. The class of 2017 banner, we had all of the freshmen sign the class of 2017 banner that we keep in the main office to inspire students to graduate on time. And then we did the Kansas Career Pipeline. We stayed in the computer labs and helped students and teachers to get through the Kansas Career Pipeline.
Our freshman ambassadors made posters to spread the word for the pink out we had for the basketball game to support the breast cancer awareness.
Save Your Grades is an activity every 6 weeks in all academies to help students work on missing assignments or recurring assignments to pass. And in the pictures we had, the first picture was supposed to be of all the students at Save Your Grades, and the bottom one is the banner of the 2017 graduating class.
Any questions?
Do you have an idea of how many students are in your academy? I didn't mean to put you on the spot. 300 and so maybe? Yeah.
Quite a bit.
560?
Yeah.
No wonder you don't know that number. Wow, because that looks like a lot of signatures there. Well, good job.
To pass and have a blast, there's a lot of kids that were encouraged to get their grades up. Yeah, just a lot.
Any other questions from the board? Awesome. Well, you guys did a great job presenting. Well done.
I'm going to jump in. My name is Ashley Lambert, and I work with Communities and Schools. And we are the ones that kind of partner with the high school to do Save Your Grades. And so Ms. Lecker just wanted me to kind of jump up and introduce myself and talk a little bit about Save Your Grades. We've had a really great turnout, especially with our freshmen. We did one a few weeks ago and had 108 students come, and 185 assignments were completed. So we're still kind of working with some of the other academies and getting those Save Your Grades going. Most academies choose to do them about every 4 to 6 weeks, and we have one academy that's probably only going to do one Save Your Grades event. But it's a great way for students that are kind of struggling in their classes to come on one night, get all their missing assignments together, and work on them, and get them done, get them turned in, so that they can raise those grades. So most of the teachers are not accepting any late work after the Save Your Grades events, so it's kind of their last chance to get that work in so that their grades don't suffer too much from that.
It's a great lesson to learn early on in your high school career about being compliant and getting your grades, your assignments turned in on time. It's a really bad habit to get into, to not turn things in on time. I'm speaking as a parent as well as anything right now. So that's a really important lesson, and I'm glad you're helping teach that. Jean?
I have a comment. I'm just really impressed with the number of activities that you have that involve the freshmen, because I really think when you get to high school, that year is gonna set the pattern for the next 3 after that. And this has a lot of involvement, it has a focus on